So now we are going to learn about simple present. हम लोगों की जो आदतें हैं वो समझाने के लिए we use simple present.
So how do we identify which sentences have simple present tense? हम लोग समझे कैसे कि कौन सा सेंटेंस में simple present tense यूज करना है या किया गया है. So let us look at these sentences. राम खाना खाता है. राम eats food. मैंने पहले बोला था कि simple present tense कब यूज किया जाता है? To show our daily habits, our daily actions, our routine. हम लोगों की जो आदतें हैं, हम लोगों की डेली लाइफस्टाइल की जो आदतें हैं, वो बोलने के लिए हम लोग यूज करते हैं simple present tense. So basically it shows regular actions or habits. मैं सुबह 6 बजे उठता हूँ. I wake up at 6 every morning. It is showing my regular habit. It also shows facts. सूरज पूरब से निकलता है. Sun rises in the east. Sometimes it can be for a request. जैसे मुझे पानी चाहिए हो. So मुझे पानी चाहिए. I need water. मुझे ये मालूम है. I know it. मुझे ये मालूम है. I know it. So now we are going to look at a sentence in affirmative simple present. An affirmative sentence in simple present tense. Okay, so there are 3 parts to it. The subject, the first form of the verb, and the object. So what do we mean by the subject? Sentence में जिसका बारे में बात हो रहा है, that is the subject. Then comes the verb or the action word. The action that the subject is performing is the verb. So we use the first form or the base form of the verb, and then comes the object. So let us look at the formula again. It is subject plus first form of verb plus object. So we look at some examples. And before we go into the examples, what does an object do? An object is the sentence, enhances the meaning of the sentence or adds texture to the sentence. So एग्जाम्पल 1, मेरे पिताजी एक छोटे गांव से है. My father belongs to a small village. So किसके बारे में बात हो रहा है सेंटेंस में? मेरे पिता, my father. So my father is the subject. Belongs is the first form of the verb to a small village. Small village is the object. My father belongs to a small village. Example 2, मैं 1 बजे lunch करता हूँ. So I eat lunch at 1 p.m. So I is the subject because मेरे बारे में बात हो रहा है. Eat is the action that I am performing. That is the verb. Lunch is the object. So I eat lunch. Subject plus verb plus object, right? So here we are going to learn about subject and verb agreement. We have seen in a sentence, first comes the subject and then comes the verb. So we are going to learn today how the subject and the verb has to agree to one another. So the subject of the sentence can be either a first person, a second person, or a third person. and it can be either in the singular form or in the plural form. जैसे कि I is the first person, you is the second person, he, she, it, or any names like Ram, Harry are third persons. Now these are all singular forms. I, one person, you, one person, he or she or it or Ram talks about one person or one thing. So these are all in singular form. So the plural forms of it, I becomes we. You either remains same as you, or we can also write it as all of you. He, she becomes they. That is the plural form. So we have the singular form and the plural form of the subject type, first person, second person, or third person. So when the subject is first person and singular in number, we just use the base form of the verb go. I go. When it is second person, singular in number, you, we still use the base form or the first form of the verb, which is go. But when it is he or she, immediately it becomes goes. So we add an es or an s to the base form or the first form of the verb. Whenever it is a third person singular in number, that is he, she, it, or any names like Ram, Harry, the verb adds an es or an s to it. So go becomes goes. So whether es will be added or s will be added, that depends on the spelling of the verb. So if we look at the plural form of I, that is we go. So we are still using the base form of the verb or the first form of the verb. You, plural in number, all of you or you, still remains go, the base form of the verb. They, third person, plural in number, we are using go. So the only exception is third person singular number, he, she, it, or any names. So it becomes go becomes goes. So now we understand why we have written go versus goes in the presentation. So this is how the subject and the verb has to agree to form a sentence. We have learnt before about affirmative simple present. So now we are going to learn about negative simple present. So in a affirmative simple present, the parts of the sentence was subject plus verb plus object, right? So in negative simple present, it is the subject, then the do or does not form, then the first form of the verb plus the object. So क्या हो रहा है? Do और does not add हो रहा है in between the subject and the verb. do और does not add हो रहा है to make it to negative simple present. Everything else remains the same. Subject, verb, object. लेकिन subject और verb के बीच में do और does not add हो रहा है to make it a negative simple present from affirmative simple present. Let us look at these sentences. ये बच्चे अपनी टीचर का कहना नहीं मानते. These students do not obey their teacher. So these students, subject, obey is the verb. What is coming in between? Do not. To make it a negative simple present. So these students do not obey their teacher. Also keep in mind that do not and don't are same. It's just that don't is the shorter form of do not. So we can use either don't or do not. उसे ये नियम नहीं चाहिए. He does not need these rules. He is the subject. Need is the verb. What is coming in between? Does not. What doesn't? To make it a negative simple present. We again got to keep in mind that does not and doesn't are just same. Doesn't is just the short form of does not. So here we are going to learn about subject and verb agreement when it comes to a negative simple present. Do versus does. So we have the table looks familiar. We have learnt about first person, second person, third person, singular in number and plural in number. So when it is first person, singular in number, I do not go. So we are adding do not to make it a negative sentence from affirmative. I do not go. When it is plural form of first person, we do not go. When it is second person, singular in number, you do not go or don't go. When it is second person plural in number, all of you or you do not go. But when it is third person singular in number, he, she, it, or any name like Harry, Ram, immediately our do becomes does. So he or she or it does not go. So we are keeping the verb form to its first form or the base form. We are keeping it as go. In affirmative simple present, what we were doing was we were adding es or s to the verb. He goes, she goes. But here we are not changing the verb. We are just adding the does not before the go and keeping the go to its base form. And because we are adding es to the do to make it does not, we are not adding any s or es to the original verb form. So he, she, or it, or name like Ram, Harry, does not go. And like I have said, we can use does not or doesn't, which is the short form. Again, when it is they, that is plural number but third person, we are using they do not. They do not go. Thank you for watching this video. Hope this helps you. Thank you for watching Unnati English Course for Beginners.